is taught in ancient Jewish texts that in the times of Mashiach, God's presence is going to be so obvious in the world that everyone's going to try to convert to Judaism. But because God's presence is so obvious in the times of Mashiach, the Jewish nation is going to stop accepting converts. With that, I want to give you guys some insight into the conversion process if that's the path you're on and want to know more about it. For me, I took about a year of my life learning on my own. I practiced what I thought was my own Shabbos. I would not use any technology from Friday night to Saturday night when Shabbos is. I spent most of Shabbos reading Tanakh, which is what most of the world calls the Old Testament. I'd go for a long walk, and I'd play games and spend time with family. After doing this for about a year or so, I decided I needed to learn more and get connected with the Jewish community if I really wanted to convert. So I had family reach out to mutual connections to see if we had any Jewish connection, and thankfully they were able to connect me with a few different Rebbeim who I later met with and got to learn more. After meeting with these Rebbeim, I started driving into the synagogue on Shabbos every week for about 6 months. I was going to a modern Orthodox community, and they were more helpful and informative than I could have imagined. I was very lucky I got invited to Shabbos meals every single week. And after doing this for about 6 months, I decided to move into the Erev. Soon before I was accepted on the conversion track, I was introduced to all the other major Rebbeim in my community, mostly members of the Beis Din, which are part of the Jewish court. The Beis Din is who you go through that certifies your conversion. There's some that are national. There's one in the Israeli military, and there's ones in major cities like Chicago, New York, and many other cities in the US and throughout the world. Keep in mind that to be considered for Israeli citizenship, you have to go through an Orthodox conversion, which is becoming increasingly more difficult every single year. And this is for good reason, because there are a lot of stringencies in Jewish life, and the worst thing that can happen is someone converts and then decides they don't want to be Jewish later on, because they're still Jewish the rest of their life. They're just no longer following what Hashem wants them to be doing. Once I moved into the Erev and fully started the conversion process, it took me a little over a year of going to shul every day, praying 3 times a day, keeping Shabbos. I ate with families pretty much twice every single week. There's usually a third meal at the synagogue later in the day on Shabbos, and you need to participate in all the Jewish holidays and attend services throughout the rest of the year as well. Some of these can be quite intense, like Yom Kippur is an entire day where you dry fast, there's no food or water. You spend almost the entire day in the synagogue. It's a very spiritual experience, and there are many other holidays and fasts throughout the year as well. They'll likely expect you to go to yeshiva or seminary once you're done converting. For me, I went to a yeshiva in Israel called Or Sameah. Once you're done converting, sometimes you can feel a lack of energy or motivation because you're working towards this large goal for such a long time. And once you're fully Jewish, you're on the same footing as everyone else. You're expected to do the same thing all the time, and you're not really working towards the goal. It's more of a continuous life path that Hashem wants you to stay on. One of the most helpful things I started doing before I started converting was I started taking Hebrew lessons with a tutor that I found. I found someone that was very knowledgeable and had tutored for many years, so I got very lucky. So then once I started fully praying in Hebrew, I started picking up more and more vocabulary, and I'm learning more every day. If you guys would like more information about the conversion process or about Yiddishkeit in general, feel free to message me or send me an email. I'd love to help with any way possible.